Hello, my name's Margaret Mullane. I'm one of the village ward councillors. The reason we're here today is we always keep in touch with the residents in our ward on important matters. The last time we was in this room we was discussing the Civic Centre. Today it's about the EU vote on Thursday. We believe in democracy, we would never tell anyone how to vote. But lots of our residents are getting in contact with us and asking, what are we going to vote on Thursday? I'm going to be voting to leave Europe. And the reason I'm voting for that is personally it's undemocratic. For the working people, there just isn't, they don't look after the working people in any shape or form. There's a kind of massive onslaught, I feel, where if anybody is saying that they're going to vote out, there's a kind of nasty, sneery campaign against. And I think it's up to people like myself, Phil and Lee and others to come forward and say, put the case for why we should be voting to leave Europe. Europe has stood by and watched the decline of industry in this country, and the paying conditions and what people have now are very poor. We're on that, people are on temporary contracts, people have insecure employment, can't get a house, school places, infrastructure is groaning. I understand that in itself is not answerable to the EU, but the money that goes into that and the infrastructure, the EU not signing off its accounts for years, people have had enough. And as the representatives of people, I feel the right place to be is to vote out on Thursday. And I'm not going to tell anyone what to vote, I'm just sharing our opinion.
Well, I'm going to follow Margaret. Obviously I will be voting out on Thursday. Just to back her up, first and foremost, it's about democracy. Democracy should be as near to the people as possible. I'm certain that the democracy of the EU, what little of it there is far from us. Much of it is decided by unelected bureaucrats paid a hell of a lot of money that we don't even know, and you cannot lobby them like you can maybe your local councillor or your local MP like John Crow's on an issue. Secondly, as far as the in-campaign, again, when people have lost a bit of an argument, they tend to throw mud, and we've been accused of being xenophobes, racists, and we only look inwards. I mean, I fought since I was 15 against any forms of racism, and I really object to this kind of notion that anyone who's concerned about coming out is some form of racist. I work with people who some are African and Asian, and they are voting out. It's their decision, not because anybody's told them to. I also, recently went to, Palestine. It may not be of much interest in people in Dagenham, but I certainly take a very strong interest in what's going on internationally. Where I do think as well, the EU, there's a lot of myths put up about the EU, that you won't be able to travel if we come out. But the other myth put up is about about workers' rights. I am a trade unionist, and I've always found that it's unions that have won better deals in this country. Being a member of a trade union, my union and my people I work with, they have stood by me and stood by the union when it's been necessary to make sure they've got good pay and working conditions. The EU has been used as a tool to drive down workers' living standards over the years. Two more things. Again, working for Royal Mail, same as the rail workers, you cannot, because of so-called monopolisation, you can't take these industries back into public hands. All round, I think it's it's an impossible. It's not an impossible ideal, but the fact is that these other countries have very rich people in them as well, like Romania and Ireland is now used as a tax haven, and we can put into their infrastructure, but they're rich and powerful and not even putting into their infrastructure. Not that ours put enough in, but at least there's some controls. That is another reason to pull out. That is another reason why I'll be voting to come out Thursday.
Right, Phil Wakefield, Village Ward Councillor. It's not about Europe, the European countries or the people. The European Union as an institution, I've always been against. I fought to come out in 1975 alongside people like Tony Benn because of the democracy. The net cost per week, not the gross cost, but the net cost is between 100 and 240 million a week, no matter how you calculate it. I don't see how it's of benefit to give someone £10, get £5 back, and he tells you how to spend it, basically. The few reforms for workers were few and very marginal in their effect. And while we're always going to have movements of people across the world, and I've got no problem with that, it's all very well to say, like on housing, well, we should build more houses. Absolutely right. I've been after building more houses. We all have. The problem is that if it isn't, they aren't being built, there are greater and greater problems. And it's the economics of the madhouse, you know, where I know someone who's just qualified as a teacher in Poland, and he got no one, he got the children to teach. So it's forcing people to occupy a smaller part of Europe. So it's not healthy for Poland, Romania, or Bulgaria. It's not actually healthy. I think the institution is outdated. It's not very good. The euro is likely to bring it down. 49% unemployment, youth unemployment in Spain and Portugal. It's not achieving. It's not successful. It's costly, undemocratic, and I think bad for the whole of Europe. And the danger is that if we don't, I want to see a socialist alternative, and if we don't have that left alternative, it's going to drive more and more discontented people into the arms of right-wing organisations that I don't agree with. So, despite the fact I'm not pleased about some of the company I might be in with Farage's poster and stuff like that, the fact is that despite that I don't think it's helping the cause at all. Despite that, the institution, it's not the people, it's not the countries, but the institution, undemocratic and costly, run by bureaucrats, or to get a real change, 28 countries have got to agree. It isn't going to happen. 44 years ago they said we needed to reform it, and we'll be saying that if it survives in 44 years' time. Thank you.